Hello beautiful people, how are you all doing today? I hope you are well. I'm okay. Oh, I'll be honest with you, I'm fed up. I'm really fed up now. It's this house move thing. Every time I think I can see the finishing line, another brick wall gets built in front of me. Yet another curveball has been thrown in by my buyer's solicitors. I don't know if I can surmount this one. I've left it with my solicitor and I've said, I've written to my solicitor and said, look, I'm utterly fed up. I am sick of this. I'm sick of the constant daily harassment from the estate agent for my onward property, the estate agent for this property, from my buyer who's now kind of messaging me almost daily to say any news, from her solicitors, now from her lenders. And I'm in the middle of it all and yeah, I'm sick of it. Utterly sick of it. So I said to her, please tell me what I need to do to just get this done now. Even if it costs more money, I will throw money at this problem. I need this done because honestly, in the last 3 or 4 weeks, I have just thought, you know what, stuff it, forget it. I'm going to take the flat off the market. I'm going to forget moving, obviously lose the onward property. I'm just going to stay put, which I can't do. I can't do that because of the stairs. But right now, I feel like that because I need my life back, This constant worry, this constant stress, it's, daily headaches, it's interrupting my work. I'm finding it hard to work. It's impossible to sleep. I'm not asking for advice. And I know there'll be people out there who say, oh, you worry too much or you think too much. Well, it's my home and it's my future. Of course it's a worry, and it's finances, We're into the 6th month of this, and anyway, yeah, so still no news other than just more bad news this week. So I try not to get emotional. Look, whatever situation I'm in life and whatever life has thrown at me in the past that's been difficult, I always try to learn from it and I always try to take positives in some way or other. And I always try to put a smile on. I've got some smiley things to talk about after I've had my little rant. I'll always put a smile on each day. Whatever it takes. What's that phrase? Fake it till you make it. I'm not faking my smile with you, but what I mean is that attitude each day of I feel utterly fed up and depressed, but I'm going to put a smile on, I'm going to put my big girl pants on and get on with my day as best as I can, and hopefully that will carry me through to the end before I can get on with my new life. So just mentioning that thing of trying to learn, I scribbled down a few notes, of trying to find the positives. I mean, look, the first couple of weeks, sort of around the end of September, it was brilliant because all my hard work of the work on the flat and what have you, this flat went on the market and I had multiple offers on the first day of viewings. Simultaneously, I found the flat that I wanted to buy, put my offer in, and that was accepted. So it was a wonderful, wonderful moment, that whole week of, yay, I've got a buyer and I found a gorgeous flat. And the flat I found, I didn't do it straight away, but I couldn't keep it under wraps. So there are a few of my sort of close personal friends who I forwarded the details to say, this is it, what do you think? And every single one of them has said, oh my goodness, it's perfect, it's so you. So that was a great period, and then it kind of went quiet until Christmas. There was a lot of form filling, a lot of documentary evidence I had to provide. So I don't have a scanner, so I was able to sort of photograph things, and some things I happened to have scanned previously when I did have a scanner. So masses and masses of emails with attachments were sent, big flurry of paperwork in the first sort of couple of weeks of October. Then it all goes quiet, solicitors start to get on with things. But since the new year, that's when it's just all gone Pete Tong. It's, like I said, these daily emails from people saying, what's happening? I'm like, stop asking me, ask my solicitor. Now, one of the, just keep smiling, Vivi, keep smiling. So one of the things, like I say, take a learning lesson, take a lesson from it, learn something from it, so that, let's say this all falls apart. I've got a banging headache again, excuse me, slurping. Just these headaches now every day, and I think it's stress now. Even though I'm trying to do things to manage the stress, can't escape it. So I've already mentioned in terms of learning from this, so that if this all falls apart, and I will go back on the market, I have to get away from the stairs. What have I learned? So that thing about the documentation and having a paper trail, and reverting back to having some of my documents produced in paper, whether it's a monthly or an annual thing, let me have that paper trail. Also, it works as an identifier for me. What else did I write? Also, in terms of the place I'm going to buy, please God, let it still happen. Getting warm. I think the sun is coming. Can you see how the light changes? I don't know how much the camera picks up, but suddenly the whole flat is lit up with light again now. And as soon as the sun's out and hits that front window, it starts to warm up. Yeah, the flat that is my onward purchase actually comes with the freehold, rather than, as I am here, the leasehold. But what that means is the two flats above me in my new place, let it happen, they are both leaseholders. I'm the freeholder, and that's a whole another gamut of responsibilities. Freeholders nowadays have a lot more responsibility than 10 years ago. There have been changes in the law because of that awful disaster at Grenfell Tower. For those outside the UK or even outside London who maybe don't know, it was a tower block in London. I don't know how many stories high, 20 stories high. It caught fire, and it was all exacerbated by the cladding on the building was not up to fire code. So the whole thing, awful. And because of that, laws have changed. So that's another thing this process has taught me, that even if I don't buy this property and end up somewhere else, and I'm a leaseholder still, as I am here, I've learned quite a lot in the last few weeks about a freeholder's obligations and what they must do, including for here. So that, for example, if, let's say I do, fingers crossed, still move to that flat, in future, if one of the flats above me, the leaseholders, when they come to sell, I will have a lot of paperwork to prepare for them for their sale. And that's been one of the issues here. My freeholder has been ignoring all entreaties for information. So let's learn, let's be positive. And when let's say I do move there, I know ahead of time most of the things I will be expected to do. I've already got in my mind the folder, my A4 folder I'm going to have with all the different sections in, to make sure I'm always up to date. I've got a paper trail for that, not just for me if I ever come to sell the flat, but also for my neighbours, for when they want to sell. I can provide all that. Oh God, it's a minefield paperwork. But the other thing is, again, going back to quite early days in this process, back to sometime in October, I think, my solicitor sent a mass of documentation to me. She said, look, you don't need to read it, you don't need to understand it, I'm just letting you have copies of everything because it's all to do with A lot of it was to do with the freehold thing for the onward property. She said, obviously I'm checking it all, and I've checked that I'm happy with everything, and where I'm not happy, I'm raising queries. This is for your reference. So they came as sort of PDF attachments. Listen to me, I taught the lingo now, PDF attachments. There must have been 30, possibly more. But they all came, they were all titled, they just had letters and acronyms or whatever. Not anacronyms, acronyms. It would be anachronistic to have an acronym. Yeah, so as I look at them, so I created a new folder for them on my computer. New flat. But when I open that folder, it just says, you know, xc at ... 1/5. You know, it doesn't mean anything. So I spent a couple of hours a few nights ago opening up each of those documents again, having a really thorough read, making sure I properly comprehend what is this document about and why is it important. And then I renamed each of the documents so that now when I open that folder, all these things, it all makes sense. So either, you know, going forward as we are now, if my solicitor says, oh, can you just review the such and such a document, it's quick, it's easy, it's stress-free. That's what it's all about. This is about, you know, one day in the future, either I'm selling my flat or one of the lessees is selling their flats. It's just to try to make sure that in the future I never go through such a horribly stressful time in my life ever again in terms of property. I now feel chilly. Sun's just gone in. Yeah, I mean, and like I said, even if this all falls apart right now, just for future reference, because I'll only ever be buying a flat, I can't afford a house, there's every chance that it's going to be either a leasehold or a freehold. And again, it comes back to that education, knowledge is power. Let me, if nothing else from this experience, let me try to learn as much as I can in order to arm myself for the future, to try to make things happen, you know, more quickly, and to make sure that I always have the right sort of documentation so that at the drop of a hat, if a solicitor says to me, can you provide me with X, Y or Z, I can say, yes. Do you want it in triplicate? Because let's face it, my buyer's solicitors have asked for the same thing 3, 4, in some cases 5 times, which is frankly absurd. It's just ridiculous. Right, let's be positive now. Oh, really positive. I finally had my bloods done this morning. Actually, oh, can I get up? No, I can't be bothered. I've taken my little wadgie off. I was just looking to see if I've got a bruise. It doesn't feel bruised at all. She was great. She was so quick, in, out, done. Hallelujah. And what was great, so the way, after the last time was the 3rd attempt, I think. I came home, I rang the blood appointments and they said, yes, we've got an appointment. It was actually 15 days ahead. The phlebotomy police are coming. It was another 15 days away and it's like, good grief. I said, okay, fine, I'll book it. And so this morning I got up, my usual, you see this is, right, I'll come to phlebotomy in a second, but this thing with adjusting my sleep regime. And I said right back at the beginning of the year, this resolution I'm really determined to stick with because I'm still not sleeping. I don't sleep, but at least my not sleeping has moved so that, you know, bed by 10, 11 o'clock at night, up by 7:30 in the morning every morning. And I said that one of the reasons I wanted to get that established is because so often, you know, I work from home. It doesn't matter what time I start or finish work. I can start at 2 in the afternoon and work till 4 a.m. As long as I fit 10 hours of work in, I'm done. However, most of the world out there operates 9 to 5-ish. And I was saying how quite often in the past, if I've got an appointment that's at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, I end up not sleeping for a couple of nights leading up to it because I'm worried about getting up and getting awake enough in time to make the appointment. So I've now had 2 months of my sleep regime, and for the first time, I think in a long time, maybe even in ever, I haven't been worrying for the last 2 or 3 days about, am I going to get to sleep and get awake in time for my morning appointment, if that makes sense. It does make sense. So yay, that sleep regime is working and helping. Brilliant. And so I got up this morning at 7:30 as always. By 8:30 I was on the phone to my GP practice to say, please tell me you can print blood forms. And she said, yeah, I think it's working this morning. I said, right, can you print my form now while it's working? I've got an appointment in a couple of hours. I'll be in. I'll collect it then, but please can you just print it now? This is the 4th time I've tried. And she said, yeah, of course. So yeah, that happened. Great. And also, so I got the form and then had to walk round to the other side for phlebotomy, but I had a quick look at the form to make sure. I'm so nosy and bossy when it's my own health. I was just checking to see which bloods the doctor had ordered. Did they align with the bloods that I think he should have ordered? Yes, they aligned perfectly. That's exactly the bloods that I would have called for if I was my patient. So that's done. I think it's usually, it's not in-house. It goes up to King's, actually the same hospital I was mentioning the other day when I had my annual breast clinic. How long is it? I think it's sort of 5 days or so. So I'll give it a week. So a week today, I can look at my results online. That's one good thing these days, is that I can look at my own results online and not be beholden to, waiting for a doctor to get in touch. Now, just mentioning the sleep thing. My issue previously has always been, I go to bed, I fall asleep straight away, out like a light. And then an hour later I wake up and I'm wide awake, and I can be awake for an hour or 2 hours. And then I'll go back to sleep dead to the world for an hour or 2, and I wake up. It's those wake-ups all through the night. Recently it's changed. I still have that, but recently I haven't been able to go to sleep. It's, I'm going to bed at 11 and it's 2:33 a.m. and I'm still awake. I don't know how I'm still sane and upright, frankly, with stress, lack of sleep, all of that stuff going on. I'm probably getting about 4 hours sleep a night max. I'm still bright and putting that smile on. Anyway, so the other night, and again, please, I'm not looking for advice on sleep. I've been there, I've done it, I've tried everything over the years, so please don't give me any advice. But what I was doing the other night was some sort of visualization techniques. So visualize doing something quite specific, and the idea is to really, really notice details. So when you're doing this thing, whatever it is, I chose to be bobbing in the sea because that's very relaxing. So when I'm doing that visualization, the idea is to tune into what can you hear and really imagine what one can hear. So obviously the sound of the waves, maybe the sound of squeals of joy from maybe further down a beach where there are children playing, that sort of thing. But to focus on all the different senses. So what can I see? What can I smell? What can I hear? How does it feel? What do I taste? Salty sea. So I was doing my sort of visualization, and the idea being that it relaxes one, but also it shuts out other thoughts which are going around and around. And the reason I'm saying please don't give me advice is because, yes, there's always that advice, isn't there? Write down what's worrying you on a piece of paper and then you'll go to sleep no, writing down what's worrying me on a piece of paper just confirms to me what I'm worrying about. And it doesn't make the worry go away. Certainly not for me. Writing down on a piece of paper, I may be about to lose thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds because this sale doesn't go through. I've written it down. Oh, look, I'm not worried anymore. No, sorry, I know it sounds sarcastic, but there are some worries that don't go away just because you've written it on a piece of paper. Anyway, so I was doing my visualization, but it changed, and I was bobbing in the sea, and then for some reason this thought came to me, and it was so lovely. I was back at sort of school age, so I had swimming lessons as a kid. It was the only thing extracurricular. I need some sleep. It was the only extracurricular activity. I'm just keeping an eye on the clock. Don't want to talk too long today. Extracurricular activity that my mum, paid for. We didn't have much money, and so, I don't care if you want ballet lessons or piano lessons. Ain't no money for it. Shut up. But swimming, absolutely. So we used to go, was it Saturday mornings was our swimming lesson that wasn't a school thing. Saturday morning, because mum would go off and do shopping, we'd have our swimming lesson. But we also had swimming lessons with school, but it was at the same baths. And that's why I can't remember why, when I was visualising it, it doesn't matter, it could have been either. But my favourite, so I wanted to say dream then, it wasn't a dream, I was awake. In my visualisation, I was doing my absolute favourite thing from my swimming lesson days, because frankly, I hated going up and down the lanes. It's just beyond boring to me. I hate lane swimming. All I want to do when I'm in water is play. I don't want to swim. I've always said this actually, whenever I've talked about wild swimming or open water swimming or cold water swimming, whatever you want to call it, I need a different name for it for me, because I don't get in the water to swim. I get in the water to play and just, float on my back and then turn over and do somersaults underneath the water. I love somersaulting in water. Just splashing, ducking under waves. Yeah, wild playing, sea playing, river playing, whatever. Anyway, my absolute favourite thing ever to do at swimming lessons was diving to retrieve the brick. Do you remember the rubber brick? A black brick made from rubber, and they chuck it in at the deep end. You'd start, when you're a baby swimmer, you start with the brick in the shallow end. And the idea was to build confidence underneath the water. So obviously it's that thing of breath control, having a big enough breath to get all the way down and then back all the way back up, but also to have the confidence to open your eyes underwater. I never used to wear goggles. I loved it. I don't know why, but anyway, the other night, and I was thinking about it, I was lying in bed, so my eyes are closed, and I had this cheese-eating grin on my face, just remembering the joy of diving for that black rubber brick. But as you got more advanced and more confidence, they'd make the items smaller and smaller, so you had to go down, and then actually on the bottom of the pool. So I'm talking at the deep end, so it felt quite deep as a kid. I don't know how deep it was. How deep's the deep end? About 3 or 4 meters deep? 3 meters? But yeah, they would make the object smaller and smaller and smaller, and sometimes it would just be a key, and then other times you'd have to have your back to the pool so the teacher or instructor would throw the key in. You wouldn't know where it had gone, so you'd have to go down and spend longer right down on the bottom of the pool looking for this thing. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I don't know why. Buried treasure? No, I don't think it's that. I think it's just how it feels. It's weird because in a way it sort of feels totally free, doesn't it? I'm just taking water out of that to put into my cup, so I'm more ladylike when I have a sip. There's something very freeing about it, even though it's not freeing because you can't breathe down there. But that feeling of one's body being partly suspended, and also perhaps it's because there's less noise. It's quiet down there. I don't know, but I blooming loved it. Absolutely blooming loved it. Yeah, it's completely random. Right, I've had a piece of post and I cut the top off and realised it's a DVD. So I'm going to open it with you. I haven't looked yet. And I know it's from one of you because it's using my PO box address. So we'll come to that in a second. But in the spirit of fake it till you make it, I am still, I've got to be honest, I've lost a lot of hope. I've really lost a lot of hope. There's a tiny, tiny, tiny smidge of hope left. But really now, I'm at the stage now where, yeah, I'm pretty down on it. But the other day, I decided, I sort of told myself, right, you have to keep believing it's going to happen. You have to keep moving forward as if this is going to happen. Because then if it doesn't, okay, you can allow yourself a massive meltdown for a week, but then you've just got to get back on with life as best you can, whatever. So in the spirit of believing it will happen, I picked up a dress in a charity shop the other day. I don't normally. Not for the dress. I've chosen it because of the fabric, because this is going to be a housewarming present to myself when I actually eventually do move. So this dress, it's too little. It's only about a size 8, which in America is a size 4. The fabric, wait for it. Look, it's Frida Kahlo. Do you remember the other day I said I was gutted because my Frida video didn't work? There you are. So we've got a bit of Frida. We've got, there's an aloe vera plant. There's plants of Mexico in there, and I love the. Oh, there we go. That's me being next to Frida. And this bit, I think it's in Spanish, but it says, abrazo de amor del universo. It's a tongue twister. Abrazo de amor del universo, which I think means embrace. Is it embrace the love of the universe or embrace universal love? I'm not sure. And that bit says, ya no estoy estar. Ya is I think. No, not. Estoy, I didn't study Spanish, I don't really know Spanish. Estoy, I think is the root for, it's the same as French, être, to be, I think it's to be. So, I know be, I am not, or I'm not being, or I'm not something, I don't know what the other word is though. And some cactus, and is that a prickly paw? Oh, and look, there's her hacienda. Oh, and I love that as well. Te amo mucho, that's easy, isn't it? Te is you, it's like two in French. Amo is love, mucho, a lot. I love you a lot. Oh, isn't that fab? I love it. I love a graphic print. So now, there's enough all the way across there. Obviously it's 2 sides. If there's enough there to make 2 cushions, if I just use this on the fronts, I'll find a corresponding material to put on the back. And then with all the little leftover bits, like it's only got these little cap sleeves, what I was thinking for the, initially, as I stood in the shop looking at it, I was thinking if I get a red fabric to do a piping around the edge. But then I thought, actually, I want to make these 2 cushions quite kitschy, because there is something quite kitsch about this range of colours, but also some of Frida's stuff. And I love it for that. And the whole Day of the Dead thing. So I thought to kitsch it up. So I'm going to make 2 square cushions. Will I make squares or round ones? I'll probably make squares. I prefer squares, neater. But for the edge, instead of a piping, I'm going to use all the bits of fabric I can that don't get used up. Might have to patch some in to make a ruffle. I'm actually going to do cushions with a ruffle around the edge. Ruffles are so old-fashioned. I haven't done a ruffle-edged cushion for 30 or more years. I used to have one on my stool, my desk stool. Anyway, so I thought, yeah, why not? And because of all the colours in there, there's sort of the goldy yellows and the reds, so long as the ruffle contains those, I might make it in a solid red. No, the point about the ruffle is to use up all the odd bits that, you know, like on the back, on the bodice of the dress. It's fab, isn't it? I really love that. I really love this bit. Can we see the hands holding all the pansies? Embrace the love of the universe, or embrace universal love. I'm not sure. Someone out there, one of you who speaks Spanish, will be able to tell me. Isn't it gorgeous fabric? Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So that dress was a £5, which is really cheap. It was on sale because round here, dresses in charity shops tend to start at 10 quid and then they are upwards to sort of 30. So for a £5, and I thought, you know what? I wouldn't be able to buy all that fabric for 5 quid. Plus, when have you ever seen Frida Kahlo fabric? I'm loving it. My tummy just did a massive rumble. So yeah, as it says there, Viva Frida. I love it. That's great. Brilliant. So you see, fake it till you make it. I'm going to believe, I'm going to believe, I'm going to believe. Right, let's find out what this video is. So, a video, I always call it video, and I mean DVD. Is there an... Ah, fantastico! Ah, brilliant! Te amor mucho. Or is it te? Te amor mucho. Oh, I'm going to cry. I can't cope with life at the moment. Thank you so much. It's, do you remember I was talking about the, honest to goodness, it's the littlest things. That's so kind. Thank you. I was saying how I talked to the guy in the charity shop and he said, oh, you know, if you liked Belleville or Triplets Rendezvous, whichever one you know, you should see The Illusionist. It's great. Oh, it's from an original screenplay by Jacques Tati. And look, doesn't that figure remind you of another figure of Jacques Tati himself as Monsieur Hulot? Whoever you are, please name yourself or please put your hand up in some way so I can say thank you properly. And the reason that's made me so emotional, oh, for goodness sake, it's just because all this stress, this never-ending bloody saga, excuse my language, it's a pretty lonely place at times as well. Having to deal with this, what feels like harassment every day on my own, it's just battered me, and so something like that that's so kind from someone I don't even know who it's from. At the moment, that's from a stranger. So that kindness, it's, you know what it is? At the moment, that's what it is. Is kindness is, kindness feels overwhelming just because everything else seems so horrible. Guess what I'm watching tonight? Brilliant. Right. I've talked for long enough. I was going to talk about a video, a DVD I have watched just recently, but that can wait because I'll probably go on and on and on about it. I bumped into a friend today on my way back from having my bloods done. I hadn't seen her for ages. So we had a really, really lovely long natter. She was with her partner as well. So catch up with him too. Really, really lovely natter. And we got talking about films, DVDs, and film night at home. And I don't know how it came up, but I mentioned Belleville and I was saying, oh, it's brilliant. And she said, oh, we saw that in the charity shop the other day. And I said, oh, you should definitely go and bag it. If you can't find it again, I've still got my copy. Yeah, so it's, I said to her, it's, you know, it's dark, it's a bit weird, it's a bit, and I was saying about Cité des Enfants Perdus and Delicatessen, if you like that. She said, yeah. Actually, the pair of them were getting really excited. They're like, which charity shop was it? We have to go back and find it. And I said, I tell you what, never mind going and finding it again. You can have my copy and I'll give it to you in the pub one night, because I think that's probably what I need, is a night off everything and to just sit with a couple of good friends, have a couple of pints. I haven't had a pint, I've not even had a glass of wine, I've not had a drop of alcohol this year at all. And so I think for one night only, to just go and sit with a couple of friends, chew the fat, because obviously, you know, they were saying to me this morning, you know, how's it going with everything? And so I think that's probably what I'll do. I think that would be a good investment of part of my weekly money, would be to set some aside for 2 or 3 pints, a night with friends. And I can hand over my copy of Belleville. And if I've watched this by then, I can share this with them too. Honestly, whoever you are, you've totally made... Look, I'm just seeing how... Doesn't it coordinate beautifully today as well? I've got a blue top on, blue books in my shop on show, the red of my toadstool and the sunflowers. It's a lovely happy accident. Thank you. Thank you so much. Right, on that note... That's enough natter. I really hope, you know, I'm not even going to say anymore. I was going to say, I hope next time I see you, I've got better news. Let's just forget it. Let's just assume it's not happening. And just try and get on with work and life and other things, and not be too distracted by this thing that's there all the time. And tonight, if I can't sleep, I'm going to go diving in the swimming pool for a rubber brick again, because that sent me off like a baby. It's perfect. All right, lovelies, until the next one, please, all of you, look after yourselves. And those of you, I know there's a few of you who are just at the beginning of your house move thing. I really hope it goes smoothly and quickly. Just hope for the best. And in the meantime, I can keep looking at my Frida fabric and picturing a couple of kind of quite kitschy cushions. I think it'll be great for a kitschy ruffle. Anyway, I'll see you all soon. Until then, cheerio, lovelies.